Warning: the following program contains explicit content, outrageous opinions, and untrained professionals. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft with your hosts, BlizzConline and Navox. This is Unshackled Fury.
The post-BlizzConline blues are fading. The search for Varian may be over, but the march of Death Knight Anduin rolls on. Welcome to episode 86 of the Unshackled Fury podcast, your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. I'm your host, BlizzConline, and with me, as always, is the semi to my Akeem. He is Navox. Welcome back again, sir.
Oh man, I have not got to watch the new Coming to America movie yet.
It was great.
It was good.
Okay, I was laughing my ass off.
Good. I wanted to, because they have Coming to America in Amazon Prime right now, and then they have the second one that just came out. So I can't wait to see it. We should have watched that instead of Mars Attacks the other night. Shit, I didn't even think about that. That movie sucks so bad. We put it on just because it was campy, or just like, have you seen it? It was like, no, I haven't seen it. We watched it. Oh my god! But anyway.
Welcome back, and yes, not Warcraft related, but if you haven't seen the Coming to America, the sequel movie, I did highly enjoy it, and it is free on Prime, and it's got a hell of a cast, lots of cameos. It's what you expect. It was pretty good. But it's been a couple weeks since we've been here. We had BlizzCon last time, and the last episode we spent a lot of time talking about all of the big reveals and what we thought, and all of the stuff coming out of that. And so this week, a little bit of follow-up on that. We have a patch, sort of a mid-level patch coming out. We're gonna chat about that, and then some other things. But in the meantime, Nav, this is now our most controversial segment of the show. Even more controversial than what used to be the most controversial, which was the Let's Rage portion of this show. But I must ask, how have you been? And what have you been up to since the last time we were here?
That's right. This is the controversial portion of the show.
That's right. This is what makes people turn off the show, and there's plenty of other shows on Warcraft Radio. You can go check out the whole depository, the whole directory, I think they call it. You can see all these shows. I will say none of them are higher rated than ours. We do have a perfect rating, which probably that's going to fuck us now. And now someone's going to go in there and give us a 1 star and be like, they talk about what they did in the week before, and fuck those guys. But there are plenty of other options. So if you don't want to hear this, please, Odin be with you. But Nav, what have you been up to since last we were here?
Well, we have been working on doing Mythic Castle Nathria. We finally have... we have Hungering Destroyer down, and now we're working on
nice.
What's his name again? The flame guy. The flame. You heal him up and he comes down.
Kael'thas?
Kael'thas, thank you.
Yeah, fuck that.
I know that as the warrior AoE fight. Like that's they bring warriors
Blade
in for the AoE, the cleave and the AoE. We have a couple fights. Anything with a cleave is for warriors. It's awesome.
Yes.
We love those fights.
Yes.
But other than that, I've been running around doing. I've only been playing my one character, even though I like playing my alt. So I've been trying to get some stuff done in the game that I haven't I don't know that. I guess I've been waiting for the time to do it. There's a couple transmog items I've been looking for in the game. One was a two-handed sword. Funny story about this. There's a two-handed sword that drops off of one of the mobs over in Bastion. It's in the upper left-hand corner of the map in that where the dark, I forget what they're called. I sat there all day I'm like, I'm at work. I'm at work because I work from home, and I'm like, I'll log in and I'll camp this thing because it's got a two-handed sword that I want. So I sat there all day.
Is this like a Forsworn?
Right, it's a Forsworn sword.
Okay.
It's brown. It's this, and it's got the paladin hand on it. It's got the.
I've seen. That's where you get that.
Oh, the story gets better.
Oh,
this
boy.
is awesome.
Uh-oh.
So I'm sitting there fishing all day. I'm like, fuck, this thing's not spawning. And I sat there from like 11 o'clock when the server reset till about 4:30. And then all of a sudden, my little NPC thing lights up because it spawned. And I'm like, shit, yeah. So we go over there. I kill it. There's a dwarf standing there. I'm like, man, how did you spawn this thing? He's like, oh, you got to be dead. And then you just talk to the NPC. And I'm like, what?
Oh, my God.
So yeah, so if you want the transmog, it's not 100% drop, but it took me, and you could do it every single day, and it honestly took me 3 or 4 days of resets to do it. You just go over there, you pull some mobs, you die in front of the boss, the mob is there, you talk to her, she resurrects you, and then you just kill her, and you get a bunch of stuff, and then the sword is one of the options for a drop. Even if you don't need it, it's a really neat looking transmog.
Yes.
The other thing I learned with Kyrian, for all the Kyrian listeners out there, the other option of this sword is the blue version, and you get that at the Temple of Purity, where you go and ring the bell, and it's got that really annoying set of circles you have to navigate your way through. I discovered that you can go and ring the bell and then run around the outside of the building, completely negating the entire effect of all of that stuff. So you ring the bell, and then you run around the outside of the building, and you just pick up your loot, and that's it.
Game designers are going to be pissed out there.
Yeah, all the game designers listening right now are like, shit, we got to fix that. But other than that, I've been doing my Torghast. We've been doing some Twisted Corridor stuff. I finally caught up buying the Best in Slot Arms Warrior Legendary thing, and then all of a sudden, that's going to change on Tuesday. So that's a lot of fun that I just wasted that much gold doing that. I almost wonder if I should turn around and sell it, and because I haven't used it yet, because I just have to do one more week of Torghast before I could actually, change the item into what I need it to.
Yep.
But other than that, doing raids, doing some Mythic Plus, getting ready for the changes on Tuesday, which I'm really excited for.
Good.
Not a whole lot. How about you? What have you been up to?
Well, this is where I'm going to bring the show to a screeching, grinding halt. Because as people on my raid team, or people that know me, know, I have not gotten a lot of time in as of late. Unfortunately, we've had some actual real world problems interfering with just life in general. We've had a matriarch in the family pass away, and we've been dealing with that. We've had other stuff going on, so it has been a challenge, and I have not been able to get away as much as I wanted to. I was able to raid only a couple of days in the last couple of weeks with my raid team, and we're banging our way through heroics and making good progress, and I'm desperately missing that time. But sometimes life gets in the way, and in a true sign of the dystopian world that we are moving towards, I will be watching my grandmother's funeral live streamed on YouTube, which is just fucking bizarre. But that's where we are, and we've talked about on this show about COVID stuff from time to time, and we're big believers in safety protocols around here, and it's tough to abide by those rules, and I know not everybody does. People are in different situations, and you gotta do what you gotta do. But I'm now in a position where I had no notice. And in the middle of my workday, between a couple of Zoom calls, I got a call from my mom. And she said, you need to say goodbye to your grandmother right now. And on the spot, I had to think of what my entire life's worth of love and moments with my grandmother were and meant to me, and then say something about that, and then do that, and then get on another call. I mean, it's been a fucked up time, and I cannot wait to get the fuck out of this era. That's all I gotta say.
I'm really sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, thank you. And it's what a lot of other families have had to deal with, and what a lot of other people in our community. We've lost people in our community during this time, and we're all in it together, one way or another. So I'm definitely looking forward to brighter days and more playing time and fun stuff in Warcraft and good diversions. That's what we need. Good diversions right now. So. But yeah, we've had a little bit of leveling time getting scheduled for alts that keeps getting bumped, so I have not gotten in there yet, but yet damn it, I'm still gonna get in there because I gotta see these other covenants. I'm hearing all this wild stuff about these other covenants and like Kel'Thuzad and what's going on with Kael'thas, and it's just there's other stories out there and I still haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Whatever crazy stuff is happening in Ardenweald, I have yet to see any of that Night Fae crazy business, but I'm looking forward to it. I gotta get on that, and I'm gonna be very happy once I can. So that is kind of where I've been. But Nav, moving on, I know that you have a very important rage topic for this week, and anyone who has been in our Discord as of late, and if you aren't in our Discord, please join. We actually have a handful of people in there now, and there's been some conversation from time to time, so that's good. But if you haven't joined our Discord yet, you can find it in our show's Twitter header profile, Dealy Bob, and it's also, I'm pretty sure, on our Warcraft Radio directory profile page. And there's other places to get it. And God only knows what would happen if you messaged us for it. You'd probably get it. But all our DMs are open. So slide up in our DMs. Get that Discord invite. So good. But anybody that's been in there knows that there's something that's been really just pissing you off now for a good handful of time. So why don't we go ahead and dive into our rage portion of the show. Let's rage.
So the Great Vault has been
just
a bane in my side. It's just been this ongoing. I don't know. There's people who have luck with the Great Vault, and then the Great Vault to me is just basically the great closet of clutter, basically, because I have been very fortunate to get my two-handed weapon that I've been using for the past 4 or 5 weeks now from the Great Vault, because the raid's not dropping weapons for me. So I got that 1/216 item out of the Great Vault, and that's been it. Other than that, it just keeps giving me shit for drops. I know there's people that are out there, they're like, I love the Great Vault, it's awesome, yay, I'm getting all the stuff I need out of it. I'm happy for you. On the flip side, there are people like me who have the worst luck with stuff in game like that, and it is just at this point, I said on Twitter myself, I said, you know what, I am done complaining about the Great Vault. I'm not, I'm just done complaining about it, because it week after week, it's just nothing but disappointment. So, yeah, a big fuck you to the Great Vault, because I just, I just can't even. I can't even muster up the strength to bitch about it. It's broken me with the whole, like, people are supposed to be excited about it. It's just like, I can't. I'm not excited for it. What I am excited about, though, is the option coming with 9.0.5. Mm-hmm. With You can go and do a mythic dungeon, and you'll get a piece of loot out of it, depending on the mythic plus that you're running, the level of it, and then you can use your valor points to build it up, which is what I'm looking for. But for the Great Vault, I'm just I'm done. It's a thing that exists in the game, and I'm just so done and over with. I know it's not much of a rage segment, but at this point, my rage is better spent in game on bosses that I'm able to kill, and not even like, if I could wreck that fucking vault, I would. It was just like, I hope at some point that the Great Vault does become like a boss fight that it's just this box and you just get to fucking beat on it, and it's a timed event, and you're just done with it at the end of the expansion, because it is.
And it's got a shitty loot from 2 tiers ago.
Oh God, you know what? Yep, sure. I'd welcome it over. I'd welcome shitty loot that I didn't get 2 tiers ago versus the loot that I already have on me. I wish the vault would be like, okay, well, you know, I'm so great, but I keep giving you the same shit that you already have on you. So
3 bracers and a cloak that you've had 19 times.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it doesn't even let me like, if this shit was BOE, it'd be different. It'd be awesome because I can hand it to my friends or something. But no, it's. Here you go. Here's your bracers. Thanks. There's not even a gem socket.
There seems to be like a general dissatisfaction now. And we talked about this a little bit early on, where we're like, all right, this seems like a pretty good concept. You know, if you do everything, right? You raid,
right.
You do mythic, you run all the dungeons, like you do PvP. Like if you are engaged in all aspects of the game, it seems like you would have a plurality of choices, right? But and we did kind of notice this early on. It's like, all right, I got some gear, but it starts to seem to have some diminishing returns. I guess we'll see how this plays out. But as time has gone on, you are not the only one, because I have seen plenty of other people that are like, well, what's the weekly vault of disappointment gonna give me this week? And then, you know, you open it up and you're like, well, there's more crap I got to vendor. It's just,
yep.
It's pretty bad. And I have wondered, right, was this really going to take the place of the bonus rolls? Because the bonus rolls are essentially what this is meant to replace, because that was where, you know, you had to remember to go in and get your coin or get your roll or do whatever the thing was, and it was for gold or for currency of some type or whatever. You go into the raid and you have so many chances. I think I had said originally I was pretty happy about this, in that I didn't have to remember to have any kind of currency. It would just be a natural byproduct of, you know, my already ongoing activity. Okay, cool. I get an extra piece. Sounds great. And at first, that was kind of cool because I did get some upgrades. Sure. I'm not going to lie. But I think given particularly, and I know that they bumped the drop like amount, right? In Nathria, you now get more drops overall in the raid. They upped, you know, how many per boss drops you get. I still would like the ability to be able to get another chance at the weapon drop bosses, because clearly that is still a pain in everyone's ass. And I will say, I did see a few more, I think, in my raid this week, but they were not anything that concerned me. So as far as I'm concerned, if it didn't concern me, then it didn't happen. And that's just how that goes. But that's exactly it. I think I'm going to have to say it. I think I like the bonus rolls better.
Oh, absolutely. I love the bonus rolls, because then I could target the loot that I want off the boss. Because even though they said that they upped the drop rate for weapons off of Sire Denathrius. Mm-hmm. We're killing him every Tuesday on Heroic. We go through and we kill him, and he is not dropping the same amount of weapons that I go out there and I look on Twitter. I see everybody out there going, well, we just killed him. Look, we got like 16 weapons out of the deal. Yeah, okay, well, that doesn't happen for a lot of teams. And for us, it's not happening. We, like, maybe one person got a weapon out of it, and the rest of it is, a ring or something else. So I don't know if maybe Alliance is, maybe the Horde's getting loot and the Alliance aren't, because it's, this is kind of gearing up to be a Horde expansion. So
yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you know how it is, too, when you see those kinds of posts, because you channel Christian Bale and you just want to go, oh, good for you. Like,
That's right. Yep.
You can't help it, because we are getting pretty far along at this stage of the expansion with this, stage of being before any sort of major patches. And so things start to wear a little thin. I think nerves start to get a little frayed, and you're like, oh, I don't know. Fuck you guys. I'm still looking for my gear after grinding away for all this time. But yeah, I think they're gonna have to make some tweaks, Nav, because it doesn't seem like anybody's really happy with the Great Vault now. And I know that they put a lot of time and effort into that, and it looks cool as shit. And I like clicking on the thing,
sure.
and there is an element of like that gambler's nature in me, right, where you hit that slot handle and you're like, oh god, I wonder what it's gonna be, and you just. I don't know. Some of us just get too easily addicted.
Anima,
yeah. Yeah. Oh, Anima. Ooh. God Almighty, fucking Anima.
So much Anima.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see what happens with the Great Vault, but I think we've made that turn. And,
yeah.
Now it is subject to our rage. So I guess we'll see what Blizzard might have in store. Maybe a few suggestions. But listen, if you have suggestions, our dear listeners. Let us know. I'd be curious to hear what sort of solutions people might have out there, or if they think that the Great Vault is still just fucking awesome and we're full of shit. You can tell us that too, because that might be possible. So, but we do have a bunch of news. No, we don't. We have some news. So we have some news we're going to talk about this week. Patch 9.0.5, some post BlizzConline interviews, and a few other things. We'll try to make, what do they say, chicken salad out of chicken shit. We're gonna make it work. So why don't we go ahead and jump into our news? So, patch 9.0.5, one of our mid-level patches, is due this week. So this episode should be dropping on Monday, March the 8th, and this patch should be going live with maintenance Tuesday, March the 9th in the U.S. region, I guess, or whatever we call ours. It'll be March 10th in the EU and March 11th in Asia, because we do have a global audience, Nav. Believe it or not, we have listeners supposedly from every continent but one, which is
what?
Wild to me. I don't know if that's because people are running shit through, their server somewhere in some other country, but we're on most continents now. So
awesome.
That's when that patch is coming live, and this is sort of your, I don't know if kissing your sister is the right analogy here, but this is sort of, because it's such a weird, I don't know why people say that. It's so weird. This is, I don't know. If your sister's hot, does it make a difference? Like, I don't know. It's so gross. It's such an awful statement. I don't know why. Anyway, patch 9.0.5 is making a lot of these sort of like quality of life improvements. I guess that might be the way to say it, but not too big. Like it's not anything that's revolutionary, so to speak, but it is pretty broad in its impact. Because if you go through, and they have posted the patch notes for this, they are tweaking a lot of different stuff. Like it covers a pretty wide breadth of issues, from adventure tables, classes, dungeons, covenants. There's even stuff about the Maw, the companion app, Torghast, PvP. I mean, it's all over the place. And you know that whatever they post, that's not going to be everything. And as we've come to find out, there's always the undocumented changes that can tend to be a little fun if people find them. But just kind of perusing through the various changes that they have, one thing that sticks out to me immediately is that they are doing a Covenant tuning pass where certain abilities are being updated. And we had talked about this numerous times, in that it's going to be very important that Blizzard stay on top of keeping all of the Covenant abilities balanced. I know that, everyone loves their spreadsheets and sim crafts and all that kind of jazz, and this is the kind of thing that's going to potentially piss a lot of people off. You had touched on this a moment ago about, the impact of some legendaries might be changing. In fact, will be changing.
Oh, yeah.
And so now what was the best may no longer be the best.
That's
so
right.
So there's some of that coming in. Curious to see how that plays out and what kind of crazy shit happens. Torghast is getting a little bit of an interface change that I personally am very happy to see, which is that they're now going to not only be giving, descriptions of where you're going, but they're giving eye level suggestions, which to me, that is something that they should have had from the beginning after getting my ass stomped out so many times. And again, I'm not the best player, right? So I'm probably even below what the recommended level is. I at least now have some kind of a roadmap starting Tuesday, which I really appreciate. And if I have to go grind Soul Ash now for another legendary, because I'm going to have to swap out and get some new pants and then swap out for something I'm probably going to have to put on a bracer or some other thing, at least now I know where I can appropriately go and have at least a modicum of success. It also shows why I'll never be able to do that endless stuff, because I'm just way too low. It's just no mount for me
to do that. Yeah, I'm like, gosh,
that's never happening. And then last but not least, the other big change that I think might play out at least a little bit better, even though we just shit all over the system as a whole. The Great Vault is getting an update where instead of items dropping after 3 kills, 7 kills, and 10 kills, it's now going to be 3 kills, 6 kills, and 9 kills.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the numbers bear out that there's probably some break lines there in terms of how far people are progressing week to week and where that might be most beneficial. So I'm going to say I appreciate that. I don't know that overrides the general complaints that we just had for the last handful of minutes, but something's better than nothing. And
right,
I guess I'll take that. So that kind of at the top, those are some of the things that I saw where I was like, okay, all right, decent changes, nothing crazy. But as we wait for 9.1 and all of the real big stuff that's coming, those are some of the items that stood out to me. But how about you, Nav? And I know you love a good mid-patch update. What are you excited about?
Oh, absolutely. I do the same thing I do with every single patch. I skip over everything and I scroll down to where they fix Warrior. So right off the bat, I'm looking at this and Fury and Arms are getting nothing. They're getting nothing. But Prot is getting a damage increase, which is nice.
Oh.
They're getting a 10% damage increase, and the damage of Thunderclap is increased by 10%, and they're fixing the Necrolord Conquerors banner for it so that it's doing 400 mastery and 30% increased movement to you and to your nearest allies and things like that. So they're making adjustments. I'll say that maybe the Arms and the Fury Warriors are like, okay, well, that's great. What about our changes? Because we are still bottom of the barrel for DPS. Like, honest to God, we're like, it's gotten to the point where myself and the other warrior in our group on our Mythic Raid team, we take turns sitting each week. So 1 week he'll sit, 1 week I sit.
Oh boy!
Because we are both exactly we're similar to the damage that we output, and it's just like we don't bring anything but a battle shout and a commanding shout to the table. We don't have an immunity. We don't have anything like that. So it's like it is really back to bring the class and not the player, because now we're stacking DKs, mages, hunters, ranged, things like that, and any classes that have a immunity and things like that. But I am seeing, I think what Blizzard is doing is rotating the flavor of the month, the best class thing. So I have hope that someday the Warrior thing will come, but I digress. The nice thing, I was going to say, the one thing that you pointed out about the Great Vault, that is a huge improvement with 369 versus 3710, because not all guilds are making it through and getting 10 kills, you know, because there's some DPS checks. There's Denathrius is no joke of a fight. It's a very hectic fight.
Yeah.
It's a hard fight.
Yeah.
And if you can't down them, then you're just like, well, all right. Well, I guess we don't get all of our kills that week. So that's a good change.
Well, and think about the logic of that too, right? Is that what is the point of getting the extra loot? It's to make you better, right? The loot makes you better. I mean, that's, and if you need, where are you going to need help? Typically on the last boss. I mean, that is traditionally what is the hardest. I mean, sometimes the one leading up to it can also, the penultimate boss can also be more of a challenge. But having it come off of one before a full clear, that makes just more sense in terms of helping you be able to progress in order to overcome the overall challenge. So that is good to see. But what else are you seeing?
The other thing is that besides the Great Vault for gear, we are now going to be able, we're going to get basically tiered weapons and gear out of doing Mythic Plus. And so if you complete a Mythic Plus key, you'll get an item based on the level of the Mythic Plus that you completed. And then you can use your Valor points to build up that item eventually, you know, so you can get it up to, I think the max is 220, which is great. That's a good max eye level to get, you know, from doing Mythic Plus. And what they also put in the game is that if you complete a Mythic Plus, you are guaranteed to get that key, not the same key you got, but you're guaranteed to get the same level key. If you completed a 12, 13, 14, 15, you know, so on and so forth. If you complete a 14, let's just say you do a 14, you're going to get a 14 key out of the vault. Okay. And then if you sit on that, there's going to be a week-long decay on that key. If you don't run a mythic and complete it that week, it'll decay down to a 13 the next time. So you're not completing a 14 and then you're getting like an 11, 12 out of your vault because, you know, the next week. So you're preserving your level nice.
As long as you clear it in the appropriate time is what I understand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. So that's a really good change that's coming down the road for that. Maybe I'll be able to time with a Plague Fall or something like that. It just, I hate that dungeon so much. I hate Plague Fall so much. We went in there this past week and do not pug. Here's a tip. Don't pug tanks. Do not pug a tank for a Mythic Plus because sometimes you'll end up with someone who's very moody and you're just like, hey, why don't you slow down? Because, you know, we're dealing with fortified volcanic and all this shit, and you're pulling a little too much, and we're all dying in this 15, and then they get pissed and quit, and you're just like, well, thanks for blowing the keyfer. So folks, don't pug your tank. Bring a friend with you, you know. But yeah, there's a lot of nice improvements coming next week, and also the community voted mount, the Wandering Ancient will be available. So
that's it.
I was hoping it was going to be a flying mount. I know it's a walking tree, but there's still a part of me that was hoping that fire would shoot out of its ass and it would just, you know, take off into the sky like a flying mount. But nope, that's the mount we're getting. So I'll be happy with that one. I'm sure druids are going to be crazy happy with that. There's a lot of people, you know. There's a lot of people who are excited about this mount, and I'm excited that you're excited about this mount. I really am. So my mounts are all alliance-based mounts. I love my alliance-based armored mounts. That's what I use all the time. But if you're happy with this Wandering Ancient, great. That's awesome.
Everybody can live out their Merry and Pippin fantasies of riding Treebeard around in the forest. That's the. I mean, I assume that was what the whole get of that thing was, because even I was like, I don't know, Jellycat seems like the one that would be the most fun and unique, because we've seen like the Ent tree giant type of creatures before in Warcraft. They've updated them over time, but we've seen them many times. But this other thing was like pretty new and could be pretty funny, and not only does it have like a see-through body with a skeleton in it that you can see. But I don't know. Maybe there's like some other shit stuck in it, like a knife or like somebody's shoe or it ate something that it shouldn't have, and who knows what. Oh well, I'm sure it'll be great. We at BlizzCon they did talk about it, and they had a little piece about it, which was kind of nice, and they showed how they not only did they build it or draw it or physically create it in that digital realm, but also the sounds and how they did that with one of the longtime Warcraft composers who is apologies, his name escapes me at the moment, Glenn Stafford, and he's been around forever. And it was kind of fun watching him like, making all these noises and shit. And you're just like, this guy's like, you think that like they're way above having to do something like that, but no, they enjoy it and that's what they do. And I guess that's all part of the gig. But yes, the Wandering Ancient, that truly is the height of the 9.0.5 experience. So if you want to go through all of the patch notes, they're up on the Warcraft website. It's in the news section. You can see everything for your class. Granted, every fan site, the WoW heads and the MMO champions of the world out there, they've got, the copy-paste of all that stuff too. So you can see all the changes affecting your class and your covenant and all the other, hey, we can transmog rhinestone sunglasses now. Hooray! Like all that shit. Like, you can find that out there. So check it out. Coming out of BlizzConline now, 2 weeks past. It's hard to believe it's already been that long. But, of course, when we put out our last episode, it was right on the heels of the event. And typically, as time goes on and sort of the week leading out of the convention, we start to get more interviews from content creators, not just what was the main presentation within the community. It was who it looked like Steve Danuser was one of the main guys out there talking to all kinds of folks. And for our listeners, we were not asked to do any of these. It might shock you to know. It's not like we turned it down. But we're going to try to get in on some of these for future rounds, because I think they would appreciate our brand of questioning if given the opportunity. So we'll try to do that in the future. But for now, there were several other content creator and community folks getting interviews. Warcraft Radio, Bellular, Lost Codex had a really good one. Lots of good questions in there. Many folks had an opportunity to chat. I think Starting Zone also was another.
That's right.
So good handful of folks there. But really interesting tidbits coming out of those. And there were a few that came out that I thought we could kind of toss around here on this show. One of them being that obviously, we've got 9.1 on the horizon. We're expecting big things. We have a whole new raid, and we're taking on the jailer, and theoretically we are fighting Sylvanas. What happens with that?
Right.
God only knows. But there was a question about the Shadowlands in general and how things are affected in the environment and this and that. And one of the quotes that was given was that after the next raid, in 9.1, there will be, quote, a big visible difference, end quote, to the Shadowlands. What do you, Navox, think that could be?
Oh, it's like like Argus, like what we were seeing with that. What was his face? Oh man, what was his name? I forget what it was. Anyway,
Sargeras?
That's it. After we defeated him, the skybox changed for us. So
yes.
Right now the skybox changed for us with the jailer, with Shadowlands, being the upside down basically, and so yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the jailer's going to escape. I don't know if we saw the chains coming off of whatever the jailer was doing with the chains and that other land. So I don't I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't know. I have no like. I just hope it doesn't turn out to be a. Oh well, because the corruption item came back into that thing. I keep thinking, what if we didn't defeat that old god? What if we've been in his head this entire time?
Hell
anyway,
no. Oh my! You know what? That would blow people's shit up.
We've been inside a snow globe this entire time.
No, not saying elsewhere.
So, but yeah, I think it's just gonna be, once we do that raid and everything and we finish it, the skybox will probably change a lot. I'm also thinking that the maw in general is gonna change a lot too, because we're getting that, we're gonna be taking on the jailer in his in his area. So once we defeat him, the maw is not going to be what it was. So I don't know. I think, it's always interesting to see the environmental changes when you do a raid and it changes. I loved it when we first saw it with Siege of Orgrimmar.
Mm-hmm.
They've done it on several iterations throughout different expansions. So it's always, it's neat to see what they do with this stuff. So
yeah, when it's not static, right? Because that for us old timers have been around forever. Like, things didn't change that way, right? Like, the skybox was the skybox, or like the city looked like it always looked like. Those kinds of things didn't change. And then once they did start to change, you're like, oh, this is kind of weird. All right, now this is kind of.
And then
cool.
We complained about it.
And then
it's like, when are we gonna get Deathwing shit out of Stormwind? The whole clock tower is, yeah. And then this is the coolest thing ever. Oh my god, I'm so over this already. Yeah, it's like the ebb and flow of the awesome and shit cycle that we go through with Warcraft.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, it's. I think it's kind of weird with Shadowlands, right? Because there's not as much land. It seems like there's just more space. And so does that giant island now show up as part of one of the areas around Oribos? Like, is that now like another thing out there? Because we've talked about this, where there's many portals in that area where you take the flight path out of Oribos, right? It looks like there could potentially be other doorways. And we've talked about other lands. And all they've told us really about 9.1 is that chained area that we're going to head off to is in the Maw. So it's still the same portal, the same entry point. So the question becomes, is that something that goes through a portal? The big, angry, red, animated, Maw area? Does that, do we rub some Preparation H on that and get that down back to its pre-angry red color? Like, yeah, it's tough to say. I don't think it's going to be good. Whatever it is, I don't think it's going to be good, because one, we're not getting rid of the jailer. We're only fighting Sylvanas. Sylvanas is only the peak, and we know that he's the end guy. So I think things still continue to get worse. I don't think we save Anduin yet either, and so I think Anduin's still going to be out there, being held hostage in that way. So he's going to be, I think, doing something not good. Right, but not against his will, or against his will, but not good. So I think we're gonna see some kind of new land show up somewhere, or like all the pathways get corrupted somehow, and everything, instead of like those beautiful white anima streams everywhere, it's gonna be big and red and angry. Maybe it gets even worse.
Well, that and the Arbiter is still sleeping, so the Arbiter is gonna have to wake up at some point, and you don't know what's, it could be good, it could be bad, but from what I'm hearing about the Venari, it's like, and that they are all Venari, so I don't know if but Oribos is our home base, so it's like, does that change if everybody there's gonna be suddenly become bad, and like, are we gonna get a new, hey guys, we're shifting over here, we're no longer in Oribos? It's like, I don't know if we're gonna see something that big, but they could pull the rug out from under us and be like, that's exactly what happens. Oribos is now,
Oribos gets destroyed and we're all in the basement.
There we go.
No, that's it. Or we're all, we all have to live on the one level. That's it. Well, and we talked about the Arbiter before, and I've been thinking about this. Do we know, is it confirmed that it seems like in the cinematic that we saw with her, that she gets hit by that red, is it a soul? Do we know? Is that Argus?
Soul, and we don't. Okay, so I don't know whose soul that is, and everybody's speculating one thing or another. So it's like, well, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whose soul it would be. I don't know if it was Azeroth's soul, because it's like I don't know. I have no idea.
It seems to be like that level, but I don't believe that has been made clear, right? Like that still seems to be unknown.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is still unknown. Yes, it hasn't been confirmed one way or another what it is.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was talking to somebody who said that they had heard, or they think that it's Argus, that it was the soul of Argus going through, and it was just so big and powerful because it's that's a nascent titan that has been killed, that like that had the power to like overwhelm her or something like that. Which, if the Legion ultimately was an agent of the Jailer, and the Legion is the one that destroyed Argus, necessitating that soul hitting the Arbiter, I guess that would make sense as like the cycle goes, because it seems that we're starting to get indications that the Nathrazim are tied in with the Jailer, right? And they're leaders of the Legion, so there's a tie in there. They're making that tie, and I think some of this plays out in some of the other covenants I haven't seen, but anyway, big changes coming for what visible difference we'll see. I'm sure we'll notice. Whatever it is, I'm sure we'll know. Another thing that they talked about, and there was a panel that sort of touches on this at BlizzConline about the evolution of Thrall, and the conversation has been ongoing about, will Thrall have some sort of reunion with Draka, his mother? They are not saying outright that there is, but there seems to be some kind of some hints that's heading that way. And they, in some of these post BlizzConline interviews, have also talked about the potential continuation of the storylines for both Ner'zhul and Garrosh. Ner'zhul being one of the, you remember he was one of the warlords back when we were in Warlords of Draenor. And his was the soul that was originally jammed into the Helm of Domination. And he was imprisoned there for pissing people off. Garrosh, we saw Garrosh the Battery in the Revendreth cinematic, so we know that thread is hanging out there, and so we've got at least Garrosh, Thrall, and Draka, who are all around Thrall, and there seems to be a lot of hinting going around that there's going to be some sort of resolution there. And Thrall, of course, being really the main star of Warcraft. And as much as it pisses me off at times, we just can't get away from the guy. I know Metzen left, and maybe they put him on the back burner for a bit, but really this is just all about Thrall. And eventually Agra and the kids are going to come forth, and they're going to be like, the Incredibles, and it's going to be a whole superhero deal. But if we're looking at those folks, we're also still asking our questions about, what about Saurfang? And what about Varian?
Right.
So, Shack News, I believe, was the YouTube page that had the interview with the Warcraft folks, with Steve Danuser, about this, and asked, okay, well, we're seeing some of these folks, where are those two? And I listened to the interview, and I read the quote, and I listened to the interview, and it seems pretty definitive that neither Saurfang or Varian will be seen in the Shadowlands. And they talked about how both of those characters had their heroic deaths that tied heavily into the storyline at the time, and that they don't want to retread that ground. And they just kind of left it at that, where they have left the door open for others. So I think we have reached the point, Nav, where I am giving up hope for seeing Varian in the Shadowlands, and I'm just gonna have to try to do my best to contact my therapist and move on with my life.
He'll show up. He'll show up at the end. I still have faith that he'll show up in some cinematic at the end. It's gonna be that. It's gonna be the end of like Transformers the movie, the animated one. Again, I'm gonna keep bringing that up. It's gonna be just like the end of that.
The Matrix of Leadership.
When Rodimus has the Matrix of
Oh,
Leadership.
boy.
All the past, yep, it's going to be that way.
When all
and Varian's
but
going to
one.
show up.
Oh, my God.
That's right. Stan Bush music's going to play in the background.
Fucking hell.
It'll be epic.
It'd be amazing. I would love that. But, with no Varian, pretty much being confirmed, but we've got a million fucking orcs rolling around. Is this also proof that this is a Horde expansion?
That's right. It is a Horde expansion.
We're paying for the sins of BFA. This is gonna be just like Wrath, where we paid for the sins of Wrath for like 19 expansions. Where no more human stories, and we're bailing on all that. We're gonna tell nothing but orc stories for the next 10 years. And we did one little stopover in Jaina's hometown, and that's it. Now we're back, and it's all orc territory. And god dang, and I say that full well knowing that the major cinematic that just came out was all about Anduin. But anyway, it's clearly a Horde expansion. We had mentioned on the last episode an idea that had been brought to us by one of our listeners about how the brokers might actually be the real bad guys in this expansion. And one of the other interviews mentioned how in the Grimoire of the Shadowlands book, which is coming out, it's actually told from the point of view of one of the brokers. And it's meant to kind of provide a different perspective on a lot of the things that we think of as, either good or bad or how things work. And Steve Danuser was hinting at how there's something about the souls from Azeroth and how they just keep coming up. And there's something special or peculiar about them. I don't know if they're going to go like super meta, like they're going to realize they're in a video game. Kind of meta, right? Because those kind of stories always blow my mind when they're like, we're in a book, never ending story, that kind of stuff. But this book has got me curious. They also mentioned that there's the final chapter of this book is going to talk about the first ones and our cosmology. It's probably going to blow our minds a little bit. So I have that book on pre-order or order or whatever because it did come available during BlizzCon. So I think you can still get your hands on that. But more importantly, Nav, sort of the final thing I had on my list of information coming out of these interviews, and it was from the interview that the Lost Codex did. Credit to them. Really good questions. It reminded me a lot of the Q&As that Ian does with lore. And somebody asked about that. I know they're calling it Kingsmorn, but I'm going to keep calling it Shalamorn. The Shalamorn gem, right, in that cinematic. And we talked about this where the jailer like reaches into some other fucking place, pulls out this blue gem, and they jam it, banging away, jam it into Charlemagne. Mm-hmm. And they said that this ability was something that Sylvanas didn't know about. Like they're copping to, this was new to her. Like when that happened, like, oh, I never seen that shit before. They mentioned without giving away too much, and this seems to tie into something very big that's coming, is that the jailer might have his own sort of private stock of items or something. Like he has a hoard or a treasury somewhere that he's able to reach into and get this stuff. But that this gem, this specific blue gem that we saw, was chosen for a reason. Nav, what do you think is so special about that gem?
Man, I got nothing other than does it tie to Arthas in any way, shape, or form? That's the only thing I could think of. Because the Lich King was all blue, and I don't know. I'm very bad with that kind of stuff. So,
at first I thought when they were talking about this, because I'm listening to the interview and I go, okay, well, maybe it's like for us, what do players use gems for, right? It's always to augment something that we have. It's a stat boost. It's a whatever. And so I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is just like a piece of, it's like the Frozen Throne. Like the Frozen Throne is a very specific piece of ice or substance or whatever it is. Like that is a thing. It's its own entity. It's not just ice that was formed there. It came from somewhere, right? And then like all the stuff that Sylvanas yanked out and smashed Bolvar with, like that's part of the apparatus that was built around it. So my first thought was, I'm like, well, maybe it's like the same kind of material that the Frozen Throne was built out of when it originally encased the helm and the Frostmourne, and that's where Arthas went and all that stuff. But that doesn't seem like it's a big enough deal to not talk about, right? Like that seems like kind of a throwaway thing you could mention in an interview. Like, yeah, it's just a very powerful gem that's actually, the same kind of material that the Frozen Throne or something was made out of. No, I think you might be right. I think that there is something very heavily lore related, and that gem is not just a gem. It's not just a stat buff. Like that could be a soul. Could it be Arthas' soul? Could it be, somebody else's soul? Could it be a piece of someone else's power? Very intriguing. And I'm glad to know that was not just some, we just needed a gem to make it blue and it was dark energy. Like it is specifically there to corrupt that blade and to assist in corrupting Anduin, I assume. So, is it, I don't know. What other sort of dark energy person or entity, like, could that represent, right? Is that is it the soul of Sindragosa? The dragon that Arthas helped raise out of the ground with his sword, which we also saw a similar action by Anduin in that cinematic, the Kingsmourn cinematic. There's a lot of opportunity there. And it's intriguing to me, and I'm happy to hear that wasn't just some bupkis whatever thing. And love to hear your theories, folks. Love to hear your theories. Whatever you think that is, throw us a line. I'd love to keep that conversation going as we go forward, because I'm hoping that's a big one. We'll find out. But we had a bunch of those interviews out there. Those were kind of the top line items that I saw out there. But anything else for you, Nav? Anything else you saw in those interviews that piqued your interest?
Not really. I mean, it's just, I don't know. They're just, again, they're just gearing up to somehow do a redemption story for Sylvanas. But other than that, it is what it is.
There was a lot of that talk, and I wasn't necessarily gonna harp on that too much.
Didn't know the jailer was gonna do this, and Sylvanas didn't know. Okay, well, all right, well, okay, cool.
You raised
I'm interested
a common
to see all
topic.
this stuff. But anyway,
she didn't know that she was blowing away Teldrassil.
Right.
Oh my god. I'm gonna quit. I'm telling you. I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna delete all files. If that happens, it's gonna be over. So yes, if you get a chance, the interviews that we've talked about are a handful of some of the ones that are out there. There are many other outlets that were granted access globally. So if you get a chance, go ahead and take a look around there. Wowhead, as usual, has a pretty good collection and archiving of those. I also saw a few on MMO Champion. I think Icy Veins might have some. So go out there, check it out. It's a great way to get more information. It's kind of like, the undocumented changes in the patch notes, right? They may not be part of the main thing, but they're out there to be found, and they provide more context and kind of give us some more stuff to go about. And speaking of that Kingsmourn cinematic and Wowhead, they had a pretty good rundown and a breakdown, I should say, of that cinematic, and going through moment to moment, piece by piece, and picking out not just interesting moments in it, but also comparing it to other moments that we've had in the past. We got confirmation in several of these post-convention interviews that they are very clearly and purposefully drawing parallels between Arthas and Anduin. Visually, there are very clear comparisons to be made, and even the art that they put out about Death Knight Anduin. I mean, if you've told me that was Arthas 6 months ago, I'd have believed you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this was unused concept art. I was like, oh, that would have been cool. I wouldn't even have thought for a second that was Anduin. That's how close it is. The thing where he stabs the sword in the ground, like we saw with Arthas in Wrath opening cinematic. Where they had him walking through the halls, kind of like Arthas at the end of, in the Warcraft 3 campaign, right before he murders King Tyrannus. Very similar kind of action. We had tried to find out from Taron Gregory if this was the case. We didn't get a response on this, but they also seem to agree that Anduin leaping through the air with his sword was very similar to Varian when Varian was jumping through the air in the Broken Shore and killing that Fel Reaver. So a lot of stuff intentionally being conjured up there for us. It's one of those things where I feel like they are now starting to match our level of, I don't know, hysteria almost, where we are looking at every single little thing and going, is that a thing? Is that a thing? And now they're starting to make every little thing a thing.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that's fun. It drives me a little crazy because I can't always figure it out, but I thought it was a really good write-up and made me think about a few more of those comparisons in ways that I hadn't quite thought about them before. But Nav, did you get a chance to look at that? And was there anything else that jumped out to you? It was like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
About the art stuff, or just the
Chains of Domination, the Kingsborn rundown that Wowhead did?
No, I saw the one thing you mentioned that I saw. It was the Varian and the Anduin, the stab motion that they did, and also there was the moment where he switched. When you first looked at Anduin, and I mean, you could have sworn that you were seeing like Arthas in the face and stuff like that, but other than that, no. I mean, there's other than what we've talked about, we've discussed everything. I haven't seen anything different out of that.
It's very it's very clear that the biggest difference to me, I still think Anduin is doing this on purpose. Because remember, we didn't see him. We didn't see how he turned into the Death Knight, right? We didn't see that. He just is, and he's been taken over by the jailer, but we didn't really see how that went down. Mm-hmm. And I still think that Anduin is doing this on purpose as like a subversion, where he's able to, fight with the power of the light that's still within him, where Arthas had renounced the light. Arthas had given that up.
Mm-hmm.
So he embraced this darkness, and as we're, writing this retcon, the jailer has tried repeatedly to find his perfect agent, and maybe now he thinks it's Anduin.
Okay, so then you think Anduin just stabbed the Archon?
The Archon.
Yeah, the Archon just happened to be off center, so he injured her and wounded her, but didn't kill her or something like that.
I mean, he was clearly under control of the jailer in that moment, because you could see him kind of like wake up, and then the runes fired up and took control of him again. Maybe there was some influence there that helped him save her, but I think that he understands that there's risks, that he's not always going to be in control, but eventually he'll be able to do something when the time is right. I'm still holding on to that. and at least in this write-up of it, they do seem to talk about how, with Arthas, that was,
Arthas had he went through Arthas went through the whole transformation, and then everything went downhill after he got the sword. So I mean, after he got the sword, that was it.
Well, he embraced it. He accepted it, right? Where Anduin didn't. And Anduin, I don't think. Yeah. I don't know.
We'll see.
A lot of questions remain, though, and that is true too. Is at the end of this write-up, as detailed as it was, there's still a million questions. They have them, and we have them. But if you get a chance, check it out. It's a great comparison. Again, credit to the team that put this together. That whole reveal, right, where Anduin jumps in the air and like his armor like burns away, and it shows like the Death Knight shit. Like it's pretty fucking wild. So get a chance, check it out. We have talked on this show a number of times also about what sort of mobile game could be getting worked on in the Warcraft arena. We haven't seen anything officially about it, but there was a tweet, Nav. This is how the world works now. There was a tweet, and I hope this person still has their job, who confirmed that Blizzard is working on a Warcraft mobile game, that this person apparently has been working on this game with a team for a while, and that they're posting jobs for this team. So that seems like full-on speculation, confirmed. There is a Warcraft mobile game. Now, we have talked about, could it be a Pokemon Go style pet battle game? Because I think that's what Corey Stockton's been working on in secret all these years. And that's why he disappeared and only posts about beer. Could it be a old school RTS mobile game? Do you think it could be going that route with the sort of revival of the classic games that we've had? Which, by the way, I did download and play all of the Blizzard arcade games following the convention, and that was pretty fun, and my son really loved it. And thanks, guys, for bringing that back. Nav, 2 questions. Now that it's confirmed, what do you think it could be? What do you want it to be?
Okay. So honestly, what I want it to be, I would want it to be your standard Warcraft type game. I would love to see a build and conquer type game rather than, because they don't say World of Warcraft, they say Warcraft mobile game.
Right.
And I think the whole pet battling thing, there's a Pokemon Go game, sure. I don't know, because with the pet battling, you're only going to get the people that you want to make a game that everybody wants to get involved with, and like there's people who just don't do pet battling, and it'd be like, okay, well, it would fall short on those people. It'd be like, But doing a straight up RTS style game on your phone, I'd be down for that. I don't play games on my phone. I don't do mobile gaming at all, but I'd give it a shot. That's what I would think. I would think it'd be like a Orcs v Human, or it could be all the Warcraft races just mixed together, and you just pick whatever you want. It's it's just gonna be an RTS style game. I don't know.
I'm with you.
That's my guess.
I'm with you, because I think of like Clash of Clans.
Yeah.
And all of these other type of games, and every time I see one of these pop up, because I feel like there's a million of them now, I look at that and I go, how the fuck does Blizzard not have one of these in either Warcraft or StarCraft universe somewhere? Because that's what these games were. I mean, it's such a natural fit, and unfortunately for Blizzard, it's like with Heroes of the Storm, right? There was Dota 2 or Dota, right, was built off of Warcraft, and then you had like League of Legends and some of that. It's like there's this progression of stuff that eventually comes back to Blizzard, and Blizzard trying to like catch up back to the fact and create a game that's like something that they should have been doing like 10 years ago. And I feel like this could be the next one, and I think you're right. It's build up my fort, and zug and whatever the fuck else you're doing. I think that's what it is, and give it a year. I think we'll hear about it in a year, within the next 12 months. Someone write that down. I'm not gonna remember, but that's what I'm gonna say. But anyway, send us your thoughts. It's pretty much confirmed. There is a Warcraft mobile game being worked on now. Maybe it sucks and it never sees the light of day, but at least we know it's coming somewhere. It's out there. One of the things we enjoy, obviously on this show, as we've talked about many times, is the art, the cinematic art of Blizzard and all the things they work on. There have been a number of posts in recent months following the release of Shadowlands of the artists who work for Blizzard posting their work that they have done related to Shadowlands and other properties. And one artist in particular, and I apologize if I get his name wrong, Wei Wong, who is a cinematic artist with Blizzard, has posted a couple of entries related to both the Anduin Wrynn sort of model in the BFA cinematic and the Sire Denathrius model that we've seen, that one is super fucking creepy. But it's really interesting to see how lifelike and amazing some of these models look. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But seeing how they've had maybe slightly different versions of stuff, or how they're able to control, the lighting and to me, it's all magic. It's like space magic. Like, I don't know how any of this works. So when I see it, I'm like, oh, you might as well just conjure up a grilled cheese sandwich in front of me out of thin air. It's the same level of magic to me because I don't get any of it. So I really appreciate whenever they post this stuff and kind of walk us through what these things look like, kind of what they consider, how they go about their process. It's really amazing. Did you get a chance to take a look at those?
Oh yeah, creepy Patrick Stewart, Sire Denathrius.
Yeah. That's a fucking nightmare fuel.
It is kind of, it's like, oh yeah, put him back in his gray. Put him back in the gray. Yeah. It's nuts.
And that was off-putting, but interesting nonetheless.
Yeah.
So those are out there. If you're interested, take a look. It's we seem to get more from behind the curtain these days than we used to on how they go about their processes. And
yeah,
I'm gonna blame COVID. I really feel like we should have gotten more of these fully rendered cinematics by now, and they just aren't happening. And I think we are seeing just slower development cycles in general. Maybe things are getting cut that otherwise they would have had. This is like in our Garrisons and Warlords, where there was a grave for a raid tier, I think was the joke, because of all the work that they put into that. So who knows? But they have this stuff around, and you can see how they built it or what it looks like, and that's always pretty fun. So last but not least, and you mentioned this, you touched on this real briefly earlier. It appears, whether accidentally or on purpose, a corruption item has made its way back into the game. There was a post on Reddit about this. It's getting quite a bit of attention. That somebody ran a Stockades dungeon run, and a piece of corrupted gear dropped. Nav, how excited are you?
I'm gonna have to go back and camp all that Twilight Devastation stuff. Oh boy. Yeah, no thanks. Yeah.
Now I don't know.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know if we've gotten confirmation that this was just some boo-boo thing that happened, which it feels like very much that's what it's supposed to be. But what do you make of this?
I think it's just an item that maybe got overlooked or skipped in the purge of the corruption stuff. Like, I think, what they probably ended up doing was, we got to remove the corrupted items off this stuff. Let me run the script, remove all this stuff. I think an item got, left off of that, whatever they were doing to change the corruption portion. And I think the item rolled out, and it just said it was corrupted. I don't think there was anything on it, but, I think, just an item that's made it through the cracks. It happens all the time. It happens, people.
Sure.
Humans make mistakes,
Sure.
It's like,
It's like that one guy in Wrath who was gifted that artifact level shirt.
Yeah.
And they were able to run through Ulduar and one shot everything. And sometimes the loot table gets a little funny. I mean, you think about all the thousands of items that we have in this game. I mean, it's pretty vast.
That's what I'm getting in my Great Vault next week. A pair of corrupted gear.
You're going to throw your
Item
computer
level
right through the
16. Yep.
window.
Yep.
Oh, my God. Well, be on the lookout, folks. I guess there's a possibility that a corrupted item could be coming to a dungeon run or otherwise near you. So keep an eye out. But what a wild find. You just never know with this game. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode. Other than this fine program, where can the good people find you on the internet, Navox?
You can find me tweeting about my cats out there on Twitter at NAV_OX.
As for me, you can always find me on Twitter at BerserkerRage and this show at Unshackled_Fury. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise by going to unshackledfury.com. And you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Spotify, and Pandora. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high. And we'll see you next time. Farewell.